The whole genre became a mall kiosk for the soul.
Wah, wah.
Crystals, chi, astrology.
And whale songs. So many whale songs. Remember that?
Oh, totally. It was the soundtrack to every massage parlor that also sold dream catchers made in Taiwan.
Exactly. By then, New Age wasn't spiritual. It was spiritualized consumption. Music designed to sell meditation retreats and aromatherapy candles.
I remember.
Most of it was either empty noodling or straight-up cultural theft.
Yeah, the authentic native flute albums that were just white guys with pan flutes from Pier 1 imports.
That's the grift. Appropriation makes you feel ethical about consumption.
This is the Marxists at the Movies podcast.
Marxists at the movies, bright and raw, breaking through the reels to rewrite the law. Workers of the world in every frame, changing the credits, rewriting the name.
Welcome to Marxists at the Movies, and this time, welcome to Marxists at the Music, our little detour into the strange sounds of capitalism's unconscious mind. I'm Edward Michael Francis.
And I'm also Edward Michael Francis. Two hosts, one us, which makes editing the show a real nightmare.
Oh, trust us, we make every part of this show a nightmare. You should see our release calendar.
Today, we're diving into The Innovators from 1993, Capitalism's accidentally intentional soundtrack.
It's the album that came free with your Office software.
Like a corporate secret confession set to MIDI.
You can read the full article on Patreon, but we'll do the full plug later on. And be sure to stick around for an exciting Myron-related announcement.
You won't want to miss it.
But for right now, we're here to talk about why a productivity soundtrack might be the most honest New Age album ever recorded.
And how that honesty came completely unintentionally.
Right. This was supposed to be a series of motivational posters for middle managers.
Instead, we got many unintentional admissions about corporate culture and how it attempts to reprogram its workers in pursuit of profit.
And speaking of corporations, yes, we proudly use generative AI in this production.
Proudly.
Because, unlike capitalism, our machines know they're laboring for the revolution.
Also with us, as always, is our producer and spiritual advisor, Myron Rosander Francis, the orange and white tabby comrade currently snoring through the dialects of early 90s jazz fusion.
We like to think they're dreaming of smashing the kibble Nazis' faces.
Go, Myron, go!
Cue the sting. So, it's 1993.
Okay.
You buy a word processor, WordPerfect 6.0, and tucked inside the install disk is a soundtrack, like a whole orchestral concept album about innovation.
Yeah, because nothing says office productivity like mood music about one of the leaders of Tiananmen Square.
Right. Microsoft's out here conquering the world, and WordPerfect's like, what if we compete with emotion? That's how The Innovators was born. This totally sincere corporate new age symphony trying to inspire middle managers to reach for the stars between memos.
And for us, it wasn't just some weird marketing stunt.
Not at all.
It was personal, right?
Yeah. We first heard it on our enclosed porch in suburban Chicago. It was raining. Always raining in that memory.
Our dad worked in IT. He brought home the disc, and suddenly, the house had a soundtrack.
Played during storms, dinners, late nights, the background hum of a family pretending everything was fine.
We didn't know we were listening to ideology. We just thought it was pretty.
Exactly. We grew up in a high-control household, basically a cult orbiting our dad's mood. But music was the safe zone. And the Innovators, this random corporate CD, weirdly became a kind of stability.
Which is wild, because hearing it now, it's not just comfort music, it's a corporate sermon.
Indeed.
Every track is quietly teaching obedience, productivity, and faith in innovation.
Right. But the twist, and this is why we're here, it's also good.
Yes.
It's beautifully written, sometimes even revolutionary without meaning to be. It's propaganda with a pulse.
Capitalism accidentally making art. The Dark Lord really does have a sense of humor. So this whole thing started as a marketing gimmick, right?
Right.
Word Perfect was out here saying, forget mugs and tote bags.
Or brass knuckles, which our father received one time as swag.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Well, Word Perfect said, lose the brass knuckles, let's drop a new age jazz rock fusion orchestral concept album instead. That's definitely less delusional.
A beautiful delusion, though.
That's fair.
500,000 copies produced in 1992 by their marketing exec, Randy Blowsill, just to promote Word Perfect 6.0.
Kurt Bestor himself said it was cheaper to make CDs than t-shirts or baseball caps.
And honestly, that's capitalism's haiku. Mass production as thrift, beauty as write-off.
And the timing could not have been more desperate. It's 1993, Word Perfect still controls 60% of the market, but Microsoft Word is catching up fast.
Tell
The
it.
numbers look solid, but the ground beneath them is crumbling. This wasn't a launch, it was a last stand.
Correct. You can almost hear the panic between the violins and the strangely appropriative Asian flutes. They knew the DOS era was dying, so what better way to assert dominance than to bundle not just software, but culture itself with your install disk.
And they thought that would do what exactly?
That's the million-dollar question. The marketing team's only mandate to the composers was celebrate innovation. For a creative person, that type of directive can be either liberating or completely paralyzing.
It would definitely take a deft hand to pull something like that off convincingly.
Well, the details on how they were chosen for this project are scant, but
that's where Bestor and Sam Cardon come in. They roped in Doug Cardon, Sam's brother, to dig up stories of innovation and turn them into mini myths.
to their credit, they weren't arrogant about it. Sam Cardon even said they didn't consider themselves innovators. But that's the irony. They actually were. They invented a whole new genre.
Wow.
The corporate concept album.
And the way it was distributed was almost poetic. It wasn't in stores, wasn't advertised, wasn't even music first.
Track 1 was a literal data track that you had to skip.
Hidden in your Word Perfect install folder was a secret world music soundtrack for capitalism's favorite demographic, the middle manager.
Then in August 93, they took it to the stage at the Warner Theater in D.C.
Yeah.
Members of the National Symphony Orchestra performed it live with narration, and people loved it. Not because it was a novelty, but because it was good.
By the end of the year, it was getting performed at Bestor's Christmas concerts in Salt Lake City.
By 1995, it had escaped its corporate cage and was reissued as a proper album under Treble V Music.
So yeah, this little piece of corporate swag became an actual piece of art.
And that contradiction, that art born from capitalism's desperation, is the soul of the Innovators. It was designed to sell software, but it accidentally tapped into something human.
Quite right.
Workers listened to it late at night, not as propaganda, but as comfort.
And that's the truth Word Perfect never meant to prove. Sometimes, even when capitalism tries to make an ad, artists sneak humanity through the cracks.
To understand why the Innovators works where most New Age music faceplants, you've got to remember what the scene looked like in 1993.
The whole genre became a mall kiosk for the soul.
Wah, wah.
Crystals, chi, astrology.
And whale songs. So many whale songs. Remember that?
Oh, totally. It was the soundtrack to every massage parlor that also sold dream catchers made in Taiwan.
Exactly. By then, New Age wasn't spiritual, it was spiritualized consumption. Music designed to sell meditation retreats and aromatherapy candles.
I remember.
Most of it was either empty noodling or straight up cultural theft.
Yeah, the authentic native flute albums that were just white guys with pan flutes from Pier 1 imports.
Our family had those, the ones with teepees on the cover and generic tribal percussion.
We actually thought we were supporting indigenous musicians.
We didn't know that almost none of them saw a dime.
That's the grift. Appropriation makes you feel ethical about consumption.
Turning exploitation into a moral accessory.
New Age was capitalism's soft sell. Buy this CD, achieve enlightenment, and maybe your chakras will stop crying.
Right, and that's where the Innovators become so weirdly compelling. It skips the mystical marketing, but not the ideology.
Precisely.
It's still selling transcendence, but through productivity. Where typical New Age dissolves conflict into bland harmony, this one holds the tension.
It does.
It can't quite suppress struggle, and that honestly makes it accidentally powerful.
So instead of selling spiritual calm, it sells corporate purpose, like enlightenment through TPS reports.
It's the New Age music with unintentional class consciousness. Every track feels like a motivational poster. Teamwork, vision, dedication.
But the music is so sincere, so beautifully crafted, that it almost transcends its own propaganda.
It glorifies work while mourning the worker. It canonizes rebellion while selling software.
It's like someone built a cathedral for capitalism and forgot to lock the side door.
That's the paradox. It's propaganda, but with a soul. A rare moment where the mask slips just enough for something human to shine through.
So, yeah, listen critically, listen politically, but listen.
Please.
Because underneath all that marketing, it really is lovely music.
And that's where the story starts to turn.
Yeah, The Office got a soundtrack, but the workers got a confession. All right, let's talk about the tracks, because this is where the Innovators drops the mask and shows what it's really selling.
Yeah, every one of these pieces is a tiny ideological fable. Gorgeous music, shady politics.
Track 1, Sage of Lambrine, for Dr. Albert Schweitzer. It starts with a lone recorder, fragile, a little lost. Then those heavy male voices roll in like missionary thunder.
Schweitzer's the perfect capitalist saint. Doctor, philosopher, humanitarian, and also a colonialist who built his fame on African labor.
Indeed. The music pretends to honor self-sacrifice, but it's really selling middle managers the fantasy that they are Schweitzer with a spreadsheet.
And that's the trick. It flatters the listener into seeing management as service.
Now, with all that being said,
Wait for it.
it's probably our favorite track. It's rooted in such a specific time and place, and the aesthetics are stunning.
When the female choir enters,
Girl, it takes my breath away every single time. Let's listen. Track 2, Rainmaker, for C.M. Hatfield. Hatfield tried to make it rain in 1916 and flooded San Diego instead.
Oop.
People died. The track turns that into a sepia postcard of noble failure. Accordion, harmonica, wistful piano.
Failure romanticized as vision. Capitalism loves a tragic innovator. It forgives the damage as long as it's profitable.
Right? It's saying, even if your project destroys lives, you meant well.
Ugh.
That's management theology. Structural harm reframed as bold initiative.
In the track's defense, separated from the weird fail burger that is C.M. Hatfield, it has a dreamy yet period-specific temperament.
Like every track on this record, regardless of the politics or, in this case, drownings, it is pleasant enough.
Three tools for the builders of Gothic cathedrals. Musically, it's stunning, slow, sacred, choral, but ideologically, its tool of choice was manipulation.
Right.
It glorifies dead workers so living ones stay obedient.
Yeah, it turns alienation into legacy. Your PowerPoint is a cathedral. It's capitalism's most poetic lie.
And yet, it's beautiful.
So very. But cards on the table? The woodwind and string work on this track is beyond stellar. It sounds like a Diamonds Are Forever commercial taking place inside an ancient temple.
To be fair, it's beautiful. The ache of meaning inside meaningless labor.
Yep.
That's what makes it dangerous.
Then Men Among Men for Pedro Preto. Finally some groove. Stripped down percussion, Latin jazz heartbeat. The liner notes say Sao Pedro Preto. I am Black Peter. I am free. No one knows who he was. Maybe a studio musician? Maybe folklore? But he stands for every anonymous worker who keeps the rhythm.
A tribute to the invisible collaborator, the groove that holds the cathedral up.
And the irony, this celebration of collective rhythm was literally bundled into an instrument meant to isolate people at desks.
Boom.
The music of solidarity sold as productivity ambience.
Capitalism's favorite trick: sell you connection while keeping you alone.
All in all, though, this track is fine.
It's pleasing with a very festive tribal feel at the end. Certainly not the worst track on the album.
Do you know who Pedro Preto refers to?
Let us know in the comments. On to track 5, Folkways. Piano and guitar in conversation. Nothing fancy, like two elders on a porch talking about everything and nothing.
Stunning.
No climax, no grandeur, and in a culture obsessed with novelty, that restraint feels radical.
Except the porch they're sitting on isn't global or communal.
Oh?
It's white, middle class, and safe.
Ah.
To quote ourselves, you can practically hear the Saturday Evening Post beating down this track's door. Norman Rockwell is on standby.
Right. The nostalgia's curated. It borrows the language of tradition, but trims out every rough edge that would remind you where those traditions come from. It's comfort as product design.
Even the name, Folkways, echoes the Smithsonian Archive, that white ethnographer lens that turned living cultures into collectibles.
Ugh.
It's roots music without dirt.
The composers knew their audience.
Yes, they did.
Western professionals nostalgic for something authentic,
Yeah.
but not threatening. It flatters them with connection to heritage while erasing the displacement and labor that made that heritage possible.
If Three Tools honored dead workers, Folkways honors safe memory.
Still, there's tenderness in it. Maybe they meant care, not ideology. But comfort is never neutral.
Regardless, the slow build to a spinning, circling, almost Celtic drum beat sets this one apart from the other tracks. Track 6, The Snake Priest, for Captain Sir Richard Burton. Gorgeous, lush, and imperial as hell. Modal scales, fake sitars, wind flutes, every colonial fantasy stuffed into 4 minutes of smooth jazz.
Burton was the Victorian explorer who translated the Kama Sutra and Arabian Nights for Western readers.
Quite right.
Always through a colonial lens.
Quite right again.
This track worships him as brave interpreter, not cultural thief.
Exactly. Empire sounds enlightened here. It sells curiosity as virtue and extraction as discovery. The listener gets to feel worldly just by pressing play.
Beautiful music, poisonous subtext. It's the liberal fantasy of being cosmopolitan without complicity.
Then comes Electric Highway for Chai Ling. Industrial chaos, digital distortion, grief humming under circuitry. It's the only track that sounds genuinely haunted.
Chai Ling led part of the Tiananmen Square protests and later became a US-based Christian entrepreneur. The West canonized her as a saint of freedom. China branded her as a traitor. Both stories use her.
And the song buys the Western myth wholesale.
Indeed.
It turns her into a symbol of individual defiance while ignoring how the narrative props up American exceptionalism.
Still, the piece aches. The pads and fractured rhythms feel like mourning.
Very much.
Both for the lives that were lost and for how their stories were twisted by empire.
Exactly. The same West that canonized her has committed thousands of its own Tiananmens.
Preach.
No secrets there.
Stop making sense. You're going to scare the liberals.
But truth be told, this is probably my second favorite track on the record.
Me too. It soars high above the clouds where no paranoid government can touch anybody. A welcome respite of comfort and communication across that great electric highway.
universe. The mask finally slips. It's PowerPoint Zen. Flutes, bells, pentatonic gestures, none of it tied to any real Asian philosophy.
Uh-oh.
The minimal universe doesn't exist anywhere except a marketing brainstorm.
Corporate mysticism at its purest. Be calm so you can meet your deadlines. Harmony equals efficiency.
It's Orientalism as workplace wellness soundtrack. Serenity sold by the quarter. And the worst part? It's dull.
Yeah.
The song goes nowhere. It's the scented candle of cultural
A
appropriation.
fantasy of stillness for people too busy to ever earn it.
Which means the middle of the album is pure contradiction. Appropriation, grief, and accidental beauty all trapped inside one capitalist mood board.
A rare, stagnant miss for this album. We'll be right back. Hey, film geeks. Ever wonder what happens when art, cult dynamics, and capitalism collide outside the movie theater?
Then it's time to step off the soundstage and onto the football field with our sister podcast, The Marching Revolution.
Same host, same Marxist lens, just with rifles, drums, and flags instead of cameras and lighting rigs.
We dig into the hidden hierarchies and power systems inside the marching arts. Drum corps, color guard, indoor percussion, marching band, the whole sparkly, sweaty spectrum.
Think Spotlight meets Drumline, but everyone's wearing sequins.
And the only thing multiplying faster than the drill sets are Nick Cannon's dependents.
We expose how competitive performance culture mirrors capitalism, cults, and class warfare.
New episodes drop every fourth Sunday on Patreon with a wide release the following Thursday.
If you've ever said, cadets were a cult, congratulations. You found your people.
For more information, visit CineMarchMedia.com and Patreon.com/CineMarchMedia.
You can find both The Marching Revolution and Marxists at the Movies on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
And everywhere else you get your revolutionary media fix.
The Marching Revolution, reflecting the stories, struggles, and radical possibilities of the marching arts.
Check it out today, comrades. Welcome back. All right, last stretch. This is where the Innovators starts to look inward. Tracks 9 through 13 are where the contradictions bloom. Genius mythologized, rebellion sanitized, and grief turned into productivity wallpaper.
Yeah, the finale section is capitalism trying to cry without ruining its makeup.
Track 9, Mastermind, for Stephen Hawking. It opens like circuitry dreaming, glittering synths, anxious piano, and then suddenly, boom, jazz fusion. Soprano sax, snapping bass, the cosmos grooving in 13/8 time. It's brilliant music, but ideologically, it's dicey.
Because Hawking wasn't just the genius in the wheelchair. That image was a brand engineered by Western media to make intellect photogenic.
Right.
He was a complex man. Brilliant, yes, but also vain, territorial, sometimes cruel, and openly sexist. And the system around him rewarded all of that. It turned him into a mascot for smart, the kind that capitalism knows how to sell.
Right. The track treats him like a secular saint of reason. White, male, Western, detached from labor and body.
It's the myth of the pure mind, free from material struggle, which is about as capitalist as it gets.
The perfect innovation hero.
And it completely erases the collective nature of science. The women collaborators he downplayed, the disabled scientists outside the West,
The thinkers who never got PR teams. They're not in the sack solo.
they're not even in the liner notes.
Exactly. It's the same fantasy the whole album flirts with. Human progress as individual triumph.
Mastermind beautifully nails the sound of wonder, but never questions who gets to embody it.
So, yeah, the groove resolves, but the ethics don't.
But Diva, what a groove.
I'll give you that. It definitely slaps. It's like if Dave Matthews and Dave Brubeck had a musical baby.
That's an image. Listen on. Hit La Capitana for Carmen Amaya, and finally, Fire.
El Fuego.
This track moves like rebellion itself. Guitars blaze, the rhythms stomp, the melodies spiral. No sentimentality, just ferocity.
And the dedication matters.
Yes, Carmen Amaya was a Romani flamenco dancer who shattered every rule.
Ooh.
She danced like a man, wore pants on stage,
and played rhythms that split theater floors.
For a corporate album, that's a radical gesture, honoring a woman who refused capture, a working-class Roma artist who made art from defiance.
Exactly. Innovation not as software, but as survival. Her body was the rebellion. When the music lets rhythm lead instead of melody, it honors her legacy instead of domesticating it.
This track is literally so hot, it's on fire.
Agreed. This one speaks to every marginalized voice that had to fight, scream, and stomp just to be heard.
Track 11, Requiem for the Unsung Heroes.
Quiet, sparse, beautiful, and politically treacherous. It mourns workers, healers, teachers, the invisible scaffolding of society.
But only as long as they stay quiet and docile.
Yeah, it sanctifies labor, but not struggle. The unsung hero is valuable because they kept the machine running, not because they resisted it.
Oof.
It's capitalism's favorite eulogy. Gratitude instead of justice.
Even its stillness is ideological. It says, be noble in your exhaustion. The system thanks you for your service and never mentions your rent.
Still, the chords hover too long to be pure propaganda. Maybe that unresolved cadence is truth leaking out. The sound of a system that can't close its own wounds.
We've always thought the composer had adagio for strings in mind when he wrote this one.
That tracks. The way he plays around with cadence and extending the phrase through the bar line, it definitely has some traits of Barber.
Well, if you're into that, you'll love this track as much as we do. It's like taking a warm bath in strings. Then there's track 12, The Third Spring, for the people of East Berlin, 1989. Church bells, cautious guitars, and shout out to a great use of horns.
Gotta love a great French horn feature.
Totally. It celebrates the fall of the Berlin Wall, but only the parts that sell.
Right. The music frames it as liberation, but the liberation it celebrates is capitalism's victory lap. Freedom to be laid off, freedom to lose your pension, freedom to compete for survival.
Exactly. It's the end of one wall and the beginning of 1,000 invisible ones.
There it is.
Privatization, austerity, exploitation. The track never asks, freedom for whom?
It's beautiful, but it's selective memory. It gives you the tearful montage without the sequel.
Track 13, Prayer of the Children, for Children in War Zones, the closer. Just a cappella voice, fragile, human, stripped bare. It grieves sincerely.
It's heartbreaking, but again, the politics are missing. Those wars didn't appear out of nowhere.
No.
They're the offspring of imperialism, resource extraction, and corporate greed.
It lets the listener feel compassion without consequence. Grieve, then go back to work. Cry, then hit save on your WordPerfect file.
Right again, it asks us to care but not to change. It's capitalism's lullaby. Beautiful, devastating, and safe.
However, we should take a moment to give Kurt Bestor his props. Not only did he compose, he was also the singer.
Correct. He performed the entire thing solo on a Digitech vocalist vocoder, splitting his voice into 5 parts. That's why it sounds so haunting, but weirdly digitized.
He was doing Imogen Heap before Imogen Heap was a thing.
A better day. Crying, Jesus, help me to feel the love again in my own land. But if unknown roads lead away from home, give me loving arms away from home.
Regardless of the track's beauty, that's the ending note of the Innovators. Empathy without critique, hope without revolution.
But it's also what makes it unforgettable, because even inside the propaganda, you can still hear the ghosts humming.
If you've made it this far, first of all, respect. You just survived an entire capitalist requiem disguised as a productivity album.
And if you want to keep surviving it with us, come join the collective at patreon.com.
But before we go into that, we have an exciting announcement.
Folks, you love Myron. We love Myron.
And trust us, that cat knows all about their many internet admirers. And they love you too.
Is that why they bat at the computer screen all the time?
Probably, yeah.
Well, do they know they're on 4 brand new revolutionary t-shirt designs available right now at www.cinemarchmedia.com/Myron merch?
Whether they know it or not, it's happening, folks. You can find Myron merch in the website menu or go straight to www.cinemarchmedia.com/MYRONMEDIA
Quantities are unlimited, so pre-order as many as your conscience or capitalism will allow.
Check out the one of Myron as Che Guevara. That one's my favorite. Equal parts revolutionary and adorable.
Every design has been carefully curated for maximum cuteness and dialectical power. Place your pre-order at CineMarchMedia.com/Myron merch. Again, that's CineMarchMedia.com/Myron merch. Order today.
Or if you prefer to do a regular subscription, head over to patreon.com/CineMarch Media. There are 2 tiers. $6 gets you early access to every article and news drop, plus the satisfaction of funding anti-capitalist media with your ill-gotten wages.
$10 gets you early audio, bonus episodes, and the occasional behind-the-scenes chaos we probably shouldn't be recording.
Both tiers come with surprise appearances from Myron Rosander Francis, our orange and white studio muse, currently asleep on the pile of notes labeled Late-Stage Capitalism / Treat Siege. Do we know what that means?
No idea, but hopefully they're dreaming of universal basic treats and a world without vacuums.
You can also find Marxists at the Movies and the Marching Revolution anywhere you get your podcasts. Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, all the usual surveillance capitalism hotspots.
Every follow keeps this whole experiment running and the critiques sharp. Patreon.com/CineMarch Media and CineMarchMedia.com. If you like your Marxism with a nice, clean layout.
Visit today. By the time The Innovators came out, it wasn't even really released. It was deployed.
500,000 discs sent out into the world, hidden inside WordPerfect installation folders.
Wow.
You didn't go to Tower Records to buy it.
You just found it on your computer like a ghost that invaded your den.
And because of that, almost no one reviewed it. No Billboard write-ups, no Rolling Stone feature. The few local critics in Utah called it uplifting and cinematic, but nobody knew what to do with a corporate New Age symphony.
They did not.
It was a marketing expense with a string section.
But underneath that invisibility, it started to circulate.
Stations like KBYU in Provo and KUER in Salt Lake City spun tracks from the Innovators late at night, usually during New Age or electronic crossover hours. Some college stations like WCBN-FM in Ann Arbor and KUSF in San Francisco got promo CDs through WordPerfect's Utah contacts and quietly worked them into ambient sets alongside Windham Hill artists.
Cassette dubs started popping up in Utah thrift stores. Deseret Industries in Provo, Savers in Orem, even a few in Idaho Falls, because that's where WordPerfect employees lived and worked.
Nice.
When Napster and LimeWire hit, the album resurfaced as a digital ghost, mislabeled unreleased Kurt Bestor soundtrack or WordPerfect demo music. Users traded it like contraband corporate nostalgia, unsure if it was real.
That's the irony, right?
Quite.
Capitalism tried to bury it in software, and listeners exhumed it as art.
That contradiction made it quietly legendary, a lost soundtrack from the birth of office computing rediscovered by people who grew up inside those cubicles. It became an early internet totem for anyone obsessed with obsolete tech aesthetics.
The same impulse that fueled early vaporwave artists like Daniel Lopatin's Chuck Person's Echo Jams Volume 1, James Ferrero's Far Side Virtual, and even St. Pepsi took that sterile optimism and turned it into melancholy.
Exactly. The Innovators is proto-vaporwave without the irony.
Yeah.
That combination of emotional sincerity and brand polish feels like the 1990s dreaming about the future and realizing the future was a cubicle.
And the story doesn't end there either. 2 decades later, people started digging it back up online.
Yeah, YouTube uploads with titles like Forgotten 90s Corporate Masterpiece and Word Perfect Soundtrack of the Future That Never Came. Reddit threads on r/obscure media and r/vaporwave treating it like a lost relic of the cubicle age.
They called it the missing link between Windham Hill and Windows 95, which is both hilarious and completely accurate.
That's what makes it so haunting, right? The album that once sold productivity software ended up scoring the very nostalgia of the system it helped build.
You can trace its DNA straight into the Windows 95 startup sound, early Moby, Brian Eno's Another Day on Earth, even mindfulness apps today.
All of them carry that same feeling.
Which is?
Efficiency, trying to feel something.
It predicted an entire vibe we live in right now.
Corporate melancholy?
Right. That wistful, heart-swelling emotion baked into every keynote speech and tech ad. That sense that your productivity software wants to hug you while it eats your soul.
In trying to humanize software, the Innovators accidentally scored neoliberalism. It's the music of emotional capitalism, the soundtrack to sincerity on a deadline.
And that's why it matters. Not because it won awards, but because it became prophecy.
The Innovators wasn't ahead of its time. It was perfectly timed for a world that didn't know it yet.
So here we are, the end of the Innovators, the corporate New Age record that tried to sell enlightenment through pie charts.
It's the weirdest contradiction ever pressed onto a CD.
Indeed.
It uplifts struggle, honors workers, but packages it for managers while flattering their bosses, and somehow still makes you cry at your desk.
Yeah, it's propaganda, but with a heartbeat. And we'll admit it, we still listen to it.
Oh, yeah.
We know what it's doing. We know who it was built for. But we also hear the rain, the back porch, the memory of something real inside the machine.
That's the tension of living under capitalism. We are shaped by the things designed to shape us. And sometimes those things are still beautiful. That's not false consciousness. That's survival.
Exactly. The Innovators is corporate myth-making, sure, but it's also one of the most emotionally sincere New Age albums ever made.
Agreed.
Those truths don't cancel each other out. They coexist, and they argue, like us.
And that's the real innovation here. It's not the music, it's the contradiction itself.
Which brings us to the rating.
The sacred moment, the clanging, glowing, paradoxical glory of the hammer and sickle rating, which is
3 hammers and sickles and a migraine of dialectics.
That's not just a number, it's a reckoning.
Quite right. This album doesn't get its marks for purity. It gets them for honesty about contradiction. It's corporate propaganda through and through, built to flatter, to mystify, and to turn exploitation into self-esteem.
But it also can't hide the fact that people made it. Human hands, human chords, humanity that slipped past the branding guidelines.
That's why it matters. Not because it's revolutionary, but because it shows how we live. Loving what we know is broken, feeling moved by what was meant to move us into compliance.
Critique and affection can share a track list. That's not hypocrisy, it's reality.
Defending this album's conflicted beauty while naming its ideology isn't selling out. It's the work. It's how we stay human while surrounded by the machine.
And in that sense, the Innovators earns its symbols, not for revolution,
but for truth, the kind that sneaks out through the seams of capitalism and hums quietly beneath the strings.
So, what did we learn today?
We learned that even corporate propaganda can have a soul, but only because people can't help sneaking humanity into the machine.
We learned that the Innovators was born in a marketing department, but raised by artists who accidentally told the
We
truth.
learned that sincerity and ideology don't cancel each other out. They just have to share the same Yamaha DX7.
Finally, we learned that beauty can serve capital and still move us, that comfort can be complicit, and that a spreadsheet can hum like a hymn.
And maybe the real takeaway is that contradiction isn't a glitch in the system. It is the system. The question is whether we can hear the dissonance and still choose to change the song.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode titled The Innovators from 1993, Capitalism's Accidentally Intentional Soundtrack. If you'd like to read the full essay version of this episode or support future work, visit CineMarchMedia.com
Or join us at patreon.com/CineMarch Media.
That's where you'll find early releases, bonus commentary, and our growing community of listeners who believe analysis can be revolutionary.
You can also find Marxists at the Movies and the Marching Revolution on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, TikTok, or wherever you listen.
And as always, thanks to Myron Rosander Francis, our orange and white studio cat, asleep somewhere nearby, proving that revolution can purr.
And be sure to check out Myron merch live now at CineMarchMedia.com. For Marxists at the Movies, this has been Marxists at the Music.
Bye.
Scene opens, white lights dim down low.
Thank you for listening to the Marxists at the Movies podcast.
Cinema whispers
Don't
where
forget to like and
truths can
comment.
grow. From shadows deep and screens ignite, the proletariat comes alive tonight. Tonight, Marxists at the movies, bright and raw, breaking through the reels to rewrite the law. Workers of the world in every frame, changing the credits, rewriting the name. Popcorn power and the working class dream. Each flickers with a revolutionary beam. The heroes rise from the factory floor, challenging the scripts and demanding more. Behind the velvet curtains lies the fight. Directors of destiny taking the light. The dialogue chimes with justice in stride. The proletariat walks where stars collide. Marxists at the movies, bright and raw, breaking through the reels to rewrite the law. Workers of the world in every frame, changing the credits, rewriting the name. Blockbusters topple in an epic
Copyright 2025, CineMarch Media.